The crystal chandeliers of Le Bernardin cast dancing shadows across the marble floors as Maya Rodriguez carefully balanced the silver tray in her hands, her practiced steps silent despite the chaos brewing at table 7. What she was about to witness would shatter every assumption about power, respect, and the dangerous game of underestimating others. Where are you watching from? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more exciting stories. Maya had been serving tables at New York's most exclusive restaurant for 3 years, her warm smile masking the exhaustion that came from working double shifts to support her younger brother's medical school tuition. Tonight felt different, though. There was an electric tension in the air that made her skin prickle with unease. At the center table sat Rashid Al-Mahmoud, a billionaire oil magnate whose arrogance preceded him like expensive cologne, his gold Rolex catching the light as he gestured dismissively at the menu. Across from him, his business associate, Ahmed, nervously adjusted his tie, clearly uncomfortable with whatever conversation was about to unfold. Maya approached their table with professional grace, her notepad ready, completely unaware that she was walking into a linguistic minefield that would expose the true character of both men. "Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome to Le Bernardin. My name is Maya, and I'll be taking care of you tonight," she said with genuine warmth, her voice carrying just the slightest hint of her Puerto Rican heritage. Rashid barely glanced up from his phone, his fingers heavy with diamond rings as he scrolled through what appeared to be stock prices. Ahmed offered her a polite nod, but there was something in his eyes, a warning she couldn't quite interpret. As Maya began to explain the evening specials, Rashid suddenly looked up, his cold gray eyes scanning her from head to toe with undisguised contempt. What he said next in Arabic would have made her blood boil, if only he knew she understood every single word. هذه مجرد نادلة أحمد لن تفهم أبدا ما نتحدث عنهم. She's just a waitress, Ahmed. She'll never understand what we're talking about. Ahmed's face flushed with embarrassment, his eyes darting apologetically toward Maya, but Rashid continued his verbal assault with cruel pleasure. "Look at her. Probably didn't even finish high school. These people are only good for serving food and cleaning tables. We can discuss the arms deal openly. She's too stupid to comprehend anything beyond taking our order." Maya's hand tightened imperceptibly around her pen, her years of studying Arabic literature at Columbia University before financial hardship forced her to drop out, suddenly becoming her secret weapon. But she maintained her professional smile, letting Rashid dig his own grave deeper with each poisonous word. The conversation grew more disturbing as Rashid detailed his plans to sell weapons to questionable buyers, his voice casual, as if he were discussing the weather rather than deals that could cost innocent lives. "The shipment will arrive next Tuesday," he continued in Arabic, completely oblivious to Maya's growing horror. "The buyers don't care about international sanctions. They pay in cash, and we disappear the paperwork. Ahmed, you worry too much about consequences. Money talks louder than morals in this business." Ahmed squirmed in his seat, clearly wanting to protest, but lacking the courage to challenge his powerful partner. Maya felt her heart racing as she realized she was witnessing evidence of serious crimes, but she forced herself to remain calm, knowing that her moment to act would come. What Rashid didn't know was that Maya's father had been a federal prosecutor, and she knew exactly what constituted evidence of international arms trafficking. As Maya continued to take their order, pretending to struggle with the pronunciation of French dishes she knew perfectly well, Rashid's arrogance reached new heights. "يا الله انظر إليها وهي تحاول قراءة القائمة. هؤلاء الأمريكيون جهالة جدا." He laughed cruelly. "My God, look at her trying to read the menu. These Americans are so ignorant." His mockery cut deep, but Maya channeled her anger into steely determination. Years of facing condescension from wealthy customers had taught her patience, but this was different. This was personal, and more importantly, it was criminal. She could see Ahmed's discomfort growing with each passing moment, his conscience clearly battling against his fear of Rashid's influence. The tension at the table was becoming palpable, and Maya sensed that her opportunity to turn the tables was approaching faster than either man could imagine. The breaking point came when Rashid began describing his contempt for America and its people, his words becoming increasingly vile as he assumed complete privacy in his native language. هذا البلد مليء بالحمقى الذين يمكن استغلالهم بسهولة. نأخذ أموالهم ونضحك عليهم ونعود إلى بلادنا أغنى أكثر. This country is full of fools who can be easily exploited. We take their money, laugh at them, and return to our homeland richer than ever. That was the moment Maya decided she had heard enough. She excused herself politely, claiming she needed to check on their wine selection, but instead walked directly to the restaurant's back office where she knew the manager kept his personal recording device for training purposes. Her hands trembled slightly as she started the recording on her phone, knowing that she was about to change the course of this evening dramatically. What happened next would prove that sometimes the most dangerous person in the room is the one you completely underestimate. Maya returned to the table with renewed purpose, her professional mask still perfectly in place as she set down their appetizers. Rashid continued his offensive commentary, completely unaware that his words were now being captured for posterity. Ahmed, after we close this deal, I'm thinking of expanding our operations to South America. These people are even more desperate.
There, they'll accept our terms without question. His casual discussion of exploiting vulnerable populations made Maya's stomach turn, but she maintained her composure, knowing that justice was just moments away. She began to clear their plates with deliberate slowness, positioning herself to capture every incriminating word. Ahmed kept glancing at her with increasing unease, as if some instinct was warning him that their assumed invisibility was about to shatter spectacularly. The moment of truth arrived when Rashid's phone rang and Maya heard him discussing specific bank account numbers and transfer details in Arabic, providing the final pieces of evidence she needed. As he ended the call, Maya approached their table one final time, but this time her demeanor had changed subtly. The subservient smile was gone, replaced by quiet confidence that made Ahmed shift nervously in his seat. "Gentlemen," she said clearly, "I hope you've enjoyed your evening so far. Before I bring your main courses, I wanted to share something with you." Rashid looked up from his phone with irritation, clearly annoyed by what he perceived as an interruption from someone he considered beneath his notice. What Maya said next, in perfect, fluent Arabic, caused both men to freeze in absolute shock. "سيد الراشد، كل كلمة قلتها الليلة قد سجلت. أعتقد أنك ستجد أن هذه النادلة تفهم أكثر بكثير مما تعتقد," Maya said with calm authority, her Arabic flawless and precise. "Mr. Rashid, every word you've said tonight has been recorded. I think you'll find that this waitress understands far more than you think." The color drained from Rashid's face as the implications hit him like a physical blow. Ahmed's eyes widened in horror as he realized the catastrophic mistake they had made. Maya continued in English, her voice steady and professional. "I graduated summa cum laude from Columbia University with a degree in Middle Eastern Studies and Arabic literature before personal circumstances required me to work here. I also happen to be the daughter of former federal prosecutor Maria Rodriguez, and I know exactly what constitutes evidence of international arms trafficking and money laundering." The restaurant seemed to fall silent around them as Rashid struggled to find words, his usual arrogance crumbling like ancient parchment. Ahmed buried his face in his hands, muttering prayers under his breath as he realized their criminal enterprise had been exposed by the very person they had dismissed as irrelevant. "You have two choices," Maya continued with unwavering composure. "You can voluntarily surrender yourselves to the FBI field office downtown, or I can call my contacts there right now and have you arrested at this table in front of every influential person in this restaurant. Either way, your arms dealing operation is finished, and those weapons will never reach their intended buyers." Rashid's hands shook as he reached for his water glass, his mind racing through the implications of exposure, prison sentences, and the destruction of his carefully constructed empire. The man who had entered the restaurant that evening as a powerful predator was now cornered prey, trapped by his own assumptions and prejudices. Ahmed was the first to crack under the pressure, his voice barely a whisper as he looked at Maya with desperate eyes. "Please, I never wanted any part of the weapons dealing. Rashid forced me into this business. I can provide evidence, testimony, everything you need." Rashid's head snapped toward his associate with murderous fury, but the damage was already done. Maya nodded calmly, pulling out her phone to show them both the clear recording she had captured. "The FBI will be very interested in your cooperation, Mr. Ahmed. As for you, Mr. Rashid, your arrogance and prejudice have finally caught up with you. You spent this evening proving that money can't buy wisdom, respect can't be demanded, and intelligence comes in forms you never expected." The irony of the situation was not lost on anyone. The man who had built his fortune by underestimating others had been completely undone by doing exactly that. As federal agents quietly entered the restaurant 30 minutes later, Maya watched with satisfaction as both men were led away in handcuffs, their criminal enterprise dismantled by the ignorant waitress they had so foolishly dismissed. Rashid's last words as he passed her table were a grudging admission of defeat. "I underestimated you completely." Maya simply nodded, her dignity intact and her conscience clear. The other diners, initially shocked by the dramatic arrest, began to applaud as they learned what had transpired. Their admiration for Maya's courage and intelligence was evident in their faces. Her manager, initially concerned about the disruption, was beaming with pride as he learned how his employee had single-handedly stopped an international criminal operation. In the weeks that followed, Maya's testimony proved instrumental in dismantling an entire network of arms dealers, saving countless innocent lives, and earning her recognition from law enforcement agencies worldwide. The reward money from the FBI allowed her to return to Columbia University to complete her degree, while the restaurant promoted her to manager and offered to support her studies. Ahmed's cooperation led to a reduced sentence and a chance at redemption. While Rashid faced decades in federal prison, his fortune seized and his empire reduced to ashes. Maya learned that true power doesn't come from wealth or position, but from intelligence, courage, and the strength to stand up for what's right when it matters most. As she walked across the graduation stage 2 years later, her younger brother Miguel watching proudly from the audience as a successful doctor himself, Maya reflected on how a single evening of prejudice and arrogance had ultimately led to justice triumphing over greed. The girl who had once been dismissed as just a waitress had proven that dignity, education, and moral courage are the most powerful weapons of all, and that those who underestimate others based on their circumstances do so at their own peril.